Kiss my ass.
Kiss my ass.
Kiss my ass.
Bullshit. Kiss my ass.
So the Codex Trust Fund is an infrastructure, is a body, a project, if you want, that supports countries, developing countries and countries with economies in transition to participate in Codex, and not just to travel to the Codex meeting, but really to work at the national level to set up functioning national Codex structures. It's critically important that Codex standards are globally representative and that they really, that the global countries and the population feels represented by what the Codex standards are.
Let me tell you about Codex Alimentarius. Let me define it for you. Let me help you understand the enemy. And let me assure you that absolutely nothing that I'm going to tell you is exaggerated, is interpolated, or is imagined. Everything I'm going to tell you is documented and a great deal of it is documented on my website, which is www.healthfreedomusa, one word, healthfreedomusa.org. Let me back up and tell you that I've been watching Codex come toward us for about the last decade. And I've been watching the votes in Congress, which, God help us, is our bastion of support and protection against Codex, and I'll explain why that is. I've been watching the votes to protect our health freedom dwindle until finally in the 109th Congress, without a good deal of activity, we didn't have the votes to protect us. I've been watching Codex accelerate, and I've been watching it expand, and I've been getting more and more troubled. Let me give you a brief rundown of Codex then. After the Second World War, the Nuremberg tribunals were held, in which people who had committed crimes against humanity were judged by the world community in a court run by the United States and Britain, and they were sentenced to terms in prison if they were found guilty of crimes against humanity. One of the people found guilty of crimes against humanity was the president of a huge industrial megalith called I.G. Farben. I.G. Farben produced the gas used in the gas chambers, Cyclone B. They produced the steel for the death camps and the railroad lines. They produced the munitions, they produced chemicals, they produced all kinds of stuff. They produced pharmaceuticals. Big pharmaceutical company. So the president of I.G. Farben was convicted of crimes against humanity. Now, he's a sort of artistic fellow and creative. He was the one who was responsible for the slogan that people saw as they entered Auschwitz, usually for the last time. Arbeit macht frei. Work brings freedom. Creative sort of fellow. So he was sitting in jail and he said, well, that didn't work. What else can we do? I've got it. Food. He who controls food controls the world. So when he got out of jail, he went to his UN buddies and he said, have I got an idea for you? If we take over food worldwide, we have power worldwide. And his UN buddies said, cool idea. And so they created a trade commission. That's a very important pair of words, a trade commission called the Codex Alimentarius Commission. It is not a public health commission. It is not a consumer protection commission. It is a trade commission. Trade is about what? Money. Business. Trade is about profit. Well, they said in 1962, we're going to work toward total global implementation of Codex Alimentarius on December 31st, 2009. Long term. And they set up a bunch of committees on fish and fishery, fats and oil, fruits and vegetables, ground nuts, nutrition and foods for special dietary uses, and so on. There are currently about 27 Codex committee. There are regional organizations, there are task forces, and so on. So it's a huge bureaucratic monstrosity. It's a mess. Codex has promulgated well over 4,000 guidelines, standards, and regulations on everything which can legally be put into your mouth, with the exception of pharmaceuticals. They are not part of Codex. Important. Now, Codex standards have no legal weight whatsoever. Zero. So who cares about them? They're just standards. So we're talking about an industry-dominated, regulation-setting organization, but if it has no legal standing, who cares, right? Here's the history of Codex Alimentarius before 1962. The Austro-Hungarian Empire said, we need rules by which the courts can rule on cases involving food. So we'll have regulations and rules that the courts will enforce. That's how they get their weight.
Yeah, we had a scheduling issue. This happens. So Major General Stubblebine will not be on with us today. We just went live, by the way, at prisonplanet.tv. So we're rescheduling he and his accomplished wife, Dr. Lebo, to Wednesday for a full hour with us because so much is happening with Codex Alimentarius. But I also wanted to do half the interview about Codex Alimentarius. They've been to Europe repeatedly to cover the takeover of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients by this international cartel, creating this monopoly to make you get a prescription for any basic vitamins. But I also wanted to talk about the population reduction agenda and get Major General's take on that because both of these people together make an incredible interview. But we're honored right now. I'm just going to have her on for one segment because we're going to have them both on with us on Wednesday in the fourth hour. Dr. Rima E. Lebo, MD, just an amazing lady. And Rima E. Lebo, MD, is the medical director of the Natural Solutions Foundation. She's a graduate of Albert Einstein College of Medicine. 1970, believes passionately in the right of every American to choose a personal health path that is free of government and corporate interference. And then if I went through the rest of her bio, 35 years standing up to corruption and tyranny, that would take the rest of the time we have here today. But again, coming up Wednesday, we will have her and Major General Stubblebine, her husband, on with us for a full hour. Okay, just giving us a teaser of what's currently happening. You got back in the last month, but you've been all over the world as of late from Europe, literally battling against Codex Alimentarius. For those that don't know what it is, describe what it is and then break down what we're facing and why it's so important.
You bet. Codex Alimentarius is not an intestinal parasite, although it sounds like it is. It's a UN agency, and that should already get your red flags up. It's a UN agency designed to control the international trade of food. What that means is setting guidelines and standards and allowing the international industrializers of the food supply, including the genetic engineering folks, Monsanto and Bayer and the others, to set the rules as to what food needs to be and what it can't be. And under Codex, what it can't be is wholesome, clean, unadulterated, and health-producing, because Codex is actually the creature of the pharmaceutical industry, which wants you to have damaged, degraded, and non-nutritive food filled with toxins so that you become ill. Then Codex and the FDA, its handmaiden, will make it impossible for you to get high-potency nutrients so that you can protect or repair, protect yourself from or repair the damage that food does to you. So what we're talking about is a food system designed to make everybody on the planet, and I do mean everybody on the planet, except of course the controllers, as ill as possible with the highly economically productive diseases that the pharmaceutical industry makes its amazing profits from. Take away the nutrition, get people sick, take away natural medicine, make profits, then they die, and you have depopulated the world of the, quote, useless eaters. That's Codex in a nutshell.
Doctor, during the break, we may, we're going to end it at the end of this break. Your phone's got a lot of static on it, so we may try to reconnect. But bottom line, when we say that the globalists, the internationalists, have weaponized the food supply, we're not joking around about that. And you're a medical doctor. You've been researching this. I know that doing your own separate research from mine or others, that you and General Stubblebine have found that indeed it is a population reduction plan, and it's all done through compartmentalization, and that they are indeed cornering the world food supply, buying up the heirloom seeds while building these doomsday vaults, that they know they're bringing on an environmental holocaust, while in the name of global warming, they're bringing in all this regulation and control over the general public. Can you speak to that?
Well, let's talk about just genetically engineered food. Now, most of your listeners are probably in the United States. Right now, by the way, that's not static, that's torrential rain, because I'm in Panama setting up a food system education program to teach farmers and non-farmers how to grow clean, non-genetically modified, wholesome food in as little as a 4-foot square area if you're not a farmer, or on your farm if you are. That's why you hear that tremendous rain. Food, let's take genetically modified food. 80 to 85% of everything that Americans typically eat contains genetically modified food components. The government of Austria last week reduced a study showing that genetically modified corn, the basis of most of our prepared foods, causes sterility in laboratory rats. Now, do you really think that's an accident? Do you really think that controlling the world's food supply, as Monsanto says that it will do by 2010, and introducing ubiquitous foods that cause sterility accident? I don't. Do you really think the fact that the United States FDA refuses to allow scientific studies and automatically approves any patented genetically modified food to enter the food chain is an accident?
Do you really think it's an accident that out of over 200 different types of plastics, 55, 60 years ago, they chose the only plastic that leaches estrogen-mimicking hormones that also is linked to sterility and lowered sperm counts, and everywhere in the world where it's used, not only are the mammals becoming sterile, but where that water, excreted through sewer systems, is getting into the water, most of the frogs and alligators are being born hermaphrodites. So again, everything they do targeting reproduction because they're eugenicists.
That is correct. They are eugenicists. They are not food agricultural industrialists. They are not medical health or illness care system industrialists. They are eugenicists. 5 years ago, that would get you branded as a lunatic. Today, more and more people are realizing that they are being targeted for eugenics, slow eugenics or fast eugenics. The World Health Organization in 1985 announced in writing, and I have a copy of this document, that the purpose of the supposed smallpox eradication program that they were carrying out at that point was to induce sterility without notification in a vast number of African women to, quote, and this is the part that is in black and white, quote, eliminate 150 million excess sub-Saharan Africans. Well, I don't believe any of us is excess, and you must remember the World Health Organization, which is one of the organizations that runs Codex for the United Nations, has just been convicted in the Philippines High Court, that's their Supreme Court, of involuntarily sterilizing 3 million or more Filipino women. Ever occur to you that perhaps those non-renewable resources actually belong to the people who live on the land above them? And she looked at me and said, well, no, it never did. That's what we're dealing with, Alex.
Well,
General Stubblebine and I would love to talk to you at length about how this all fits together with the coming famine of 2009, the need to grow your own food in your apartment, on your backyard, or in community gardens, to purchase clean, wholesome organic food, and to push back against the genocidalists before it's too late.
Well, Dr. Labo, we're about to break. You've got your book there. You're set Wednesday coming up in about 48 hours to be on with us for an hour. Do you have your book? Is there a better time this week where perhaps I could have you guys on for an hour and a half so we could really flesh all this out?
I would be happy to rearrange my schedule on Wednesday to make sure that we have that hour and a half.
GMO a go-go.
Hey kid, what's up? Do you hate having to eat those healthy vegetables? Is nutrition getting you down? Well, cheer up! Help's on the way. Say hello to GMO, genetically modified organisms. You can eat them all day. Not only will mealtimes be extra delicious, they'll also contain oodles and oodles of insect genes and fish genes. Just think of all that extra yummy goodness. But that's not all. We're irradiating everything you eat, so you'll never have to absorb a single nasty nutrient ever again. And don't forget about pesticides. Plenty of those. Yes, sir. Like to know more? Well, let's take a look. Corn is a staple food used in many, many ways throughout the food industry. Growing it takes time, money, and lots of pesticides to protect the crops from bugs, vermin, and fungus. Now, some people think that pesticides made by big biotechs are harmful for humans, animals, and the environment, but that's okay. We've solved that problem. Our GM scientists are putting the pesticide right inside the crops. That's right. Isn't that amazing? The food itself will kill those pesky critters stone cold dead. Now, some people are worried about the bees dying off. Busy bees pollinate billions of dollars worth of crops, vegetables, fruit, flowers, you name it. But some insects are just plain greedy. They'll eat everything in sight if you don't watch out. GMO to the rescue! Thanks to genetic engineering, the plant produces a toxin from the newly inserted bacterium gene. The toxin kills insects, but not humans. The Bacillus thuringiensis toxin destroys the insect's stomachs. Ouch. We have absolutely no testing results to prove that these are safe, but they are. Trust us. We care. And because the pesticides are already growing right inside the crop, GM plants can withstand more weed killer than the old-fashioned organic crops. No weeds, no bugs. More food, more profit. What's not to like? But that GMO goodness isn't just about corn. There's rice, soybeans, cotton, alfalfa, soybeans, papaya, soybeans, oilseed rape. Is that all? Not on your life. GM is the gift that keeps on giving. The possibilities are endless. Just imagine you're a limey Brit trying to grow strawberries in the frozen wastes of Scotland land. Well, in the future, why not insert a gene from a codfish who's built to thrive in the icy North Atlantic? Result, frost-resistant strawberries. Wow, I want it now. The effects of GMO food on humans aren't as tried and tested as we'd like, but there are much more important things that need our attention right away. The population is exploding. How will we feed everyone? We need food security, and we need it now. But just because tests on rats eating genetically modified potatoes showed them growing slower after 2 or 3 generations and developing fertility problems, and some organ development issues, some goody two-shoes scientists and whiny campaigners worried that that might happen to humans too. Well, let's wait and see. In the meantime, the biotech companies can rake in the profits that will fund more exciting GMO experiments. We love farms. We love them so much, we want them all. We want to persuade every potential partner farmer to forget all about that silly organic farming and get with us on the GMO bandwagon. Whenever we change the natural gene sequence of any plant, we get a patent ASAP. It's our invention after all. Hey, the new GMO plants are our intellectual property. We aim to achieve total control of the seed. Got an organic farm nearby? Great! Soon everything you grow will be enhanced by the altered genes from our GM crops. Isn't nature wonderful? And what better way to spread the GMO goodness around than the wind? Accidental cross-pollination isn't our problem, and it's no excuse for profit loss. And once our genes get into your crops belong to us. Yep, well, it's our technology. If you're going to use it, you've got to pay. We don't care how it got there. When we own the food, we will own life. So those naughty farmers better not save their seeds for next year's crop. If they do, we'll know. We'll tie up farmers for years in the courts. Farmers will just have to buy more seeds next year, and more pesticides too. It's win-win all around. If you want to fight us, we might just take your farm as a settlement. But we're human. Just. Thanks, Mother Nature, but we'll take it from here. But we're doing all this for you, Johnny. Don't forget that. And if it's all too much for you to take in, don't worry. We've got it all figured out. By the time you're a teenager, it'll be GMO a go-go. We just need to make sure that our army of lobbyists keep GMO labeling off any products. Why spoil consumers with unnecessary choices after all? And if old Farmer Joe decides to fight us, we have a ready-made network waiting to take care of him. Can you say revolving door? Yep. Some judges used to be lawyers who worked for us, and we make sure that they take care of business. And legislation, no problem either. Former GM industry lawyers also work for the Food Regulation Body. And we have enough cash in our pockets to lobby any issues all the way to Saturn and back. Some people still think government food regulatory bodies are serving their needs. Hilarious. We are making a killing in India. Literally, hundreds of thousands of farmers have been organically recycled to dodge debts that they owe us. BT cotton doesn't always give strong yields, and bollworm, cotton's main pest, seems to be gaining resistance to our transgenic BT cotton. This can mean bad crops and no revenue for some. We say, once you're in, you're in. However, under Indian law, any debts die with the farmers, so farmer suicides stop debts being passed on to any remaining family. But I'm confident that we can lobby that issue too. When we own all of the cotton varieties, and we will, suicides will be of little concern, because we'll be the only cottonseed suppliers. Duh! Concerns have been raised in Europe over problems with GMO pig feed causing sterilization and growth problems, but we have years of marketing left before that's proved, and we'll find a way to work with the Danish pig farmers banging that drum. So heat up your veggies, Johnny. There's going to be plenty for everyone for the right price.